was get fired for being unfunny, but somehow free speech costing a guy his TV show, then free speech
And you know what's crazy? I can't tell you how many people are like, well, it's not freedom of speech for him to lose the show. You do realize that Tucker Carlson lost his show, and all these people that were cheering him on because he lost his show are now losing their shows. I think it's hilarious. I wasn't a fan of Tucker Carlson, but I wasn't against him either. And I think it's funny that all the people that made fun of him whenever he lost his show are now losing their shows. I think it's hilarious. And by the way, update to this matter, Jimmy Kimmel, apparently his ratings were super low and he was losing the company a lot of money. That's probably why they shut the show down. Trump supposedly just took credit for it, but there's a good chance that the Jimmy Kimmel show got shut down simply because it wasn't making profit anymore.
And a guy his life, as this is Kimmel's.
You know, Trump doing typical Trump thing of like taking credit, even though he technically had nothing to do with
controversial segment in question.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Where the next day his show's doors were closed as they sent away him and his team. As Nextdoor quickly announced, they object to Jimmy's offensive comments and will no longer air his show.
That's the reason why. Okay. Well, color me wrong. Okay, well, there it is. There's the statement. It was because of what he said about Kirk. Damn. They shut that quick.
Show for the foreseeable future.
So it was about Kirk.
Sinclair to do the same on their ABC stations, making
I'm missing two whole forms of, like, confirmation, so all I've got is a couple, like... I watched XQC talk about it yesterday, and he was saying that he pretty much said that, but if I had Asman and Tectone's take on it, I would have been able to make a more decisive, informed decisions. But it's a good thing we got a Decoy Voice here. So check out Decoy Voice, because he's awesome like that.
Statement that on Friday, they will air a special remembrance of Charlie Kirk instead, calling upon Kimmel to issue a public apology and a personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. But judging by the Hollywood Reporter,
That's also what I've heard as well. I heard that they wanted to merge companies and that Jimmy Kimmel was costing them too much money to keep. I've also heard that. I have indeed heard that. I forgot to mention that as well. Apparently they're trying to merge two different companies, two big-ass companies. These big-ass monopolies are trying to form even bigger monopolies, bro. They're evolving. They're changing.
Wasn't going to apologize. He was just going to double down.
Jimmy of course. Why wouldn't they? They thought that they didn't have any threat of them losing their show. But it just blows me away that everyone's mad that they want to cry about freedom of speech, but whenever Tom Tucker's show got taken down, it wasn't because of ratings. It was literally because of the suppression of freedom of speech. These late night shows haven't done well in a long time because they only cover one side of a very, very political America. They don't cover both sides. They only sweeten one side and distaste the other, or like sour the other. That's not how the world works.
Because he had bad
you can't do that.
Ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about
it will make a shit patty smell like roses. Okay?
Gentleman known as Charlie Kirk, and Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
And Trump was right. Jimmy Kimmel, alongside all the left-wing late-night hosts, have been completely slipping out of relevance.
Yep.
And just
look at that, that's crazy.
Like any workplace that has an employee that's slowly declined over time, it's hard to terminate their contract over mediocrity. But given the opportunity, like public backlash over brazenly false information regarding a national tragedy, the bosses will jump on firing you while they can still pass off the blame on everybody else. But leave it to the corporate media to make this business decision about their Trump derangement syndrome, with MSNBC coming out in full force.
Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media.
Bro, it's not free speech. Advocating and making fun of someone being shot to death is not free speech. It's disgusting and despicable. It's free speech if you flip somebody off and say, fuck you, but like, you can't make some fun of somebody dying. Think about the family. Think about the kids who had to watch their dad die for his free speech. Bro was just on stage talking, and he's dead because of it. You can't sit here and say that. Think about what you're saying. Like, you must read the script before you actually go out onto that stage and think about what you're saying. There's no way, brother. Come on. There's no way you actually, as a person, feel the way you do.
Essentially render the First Amendment meaningless.
We are quickly becoming a censorship state.
There will be a kind of deployment of...
I keep hearing that. I keep hearing that Kirk supposedly said a lot of bad things, too. I don't know what those things... I'm going to have to look it up at some point and try to figure out what exactly he said. Because he did say that some people, from what I've heard, one of the things that I heard was like some people have to die in order for laws to be put in place. And I hate to break it to you, but that's not really saying a terrible thing. That's just the truth. And he's right. Like that's kind of like, in essence, he proved himself right. Because people keep getting assassinated, new laws are going to have to be put in place. So like, that's not advocating for death. That's stating a fact. There is a difference between stating a fact and advocating for death. A lot of, like, my fiance gets that twisted all the time whenever I say something, and she's like, I can't believe you feel that way. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling a type of way. I don't have any emotions. I don't care. I'm stating a fact. It has to be this way in order for it to be relevant. That's just how it is. Like, firefighters have to die in order for things to be changed. That's not an emotional want. That's a fact. That's just how the world works. They are reactive, never, ever proactive. People getting the... Well, it depends. If someone's breaking into your house and you shoot and kill them, well, they had it coming. If you intend to do harm to somebody else and you get shot to death, you had it coming. That's all there is to it. You want to sit here and act like a crazy person and shoot somebody? You can't be mad if it happens to you first. That's a fact as well. That's just the truth, especially in Texas.
State apparatus.
Congressman on CNN echoing the same nonsense.
Jimmy Kimmel is a late night
Like,
host.
I personally don't think we need the death penalty. As far as I'm concerned, there needs to be a life sentence, period. They need to take away these consecutive life sentences and make it to where if you get fixed to a life sentence, they send you to like a mine and you mine out ore for the U.S. to use for the rest of your life. Period. Like, you are no longer... You get your meals, you get your water breaks, you know, you get treated like a normal employee. But other than that, you working. You threw your life away whenever you killed somebody. Your life is now owed to society because you took one. You have a debt to pay. That's all there is to it.
He's a
That's really how I feel.
We have the First Amendment in this country, and it's pretty clear that this is a direct attack on free speech. And
America is a less free place if late-night comedians cannot do and say what they want.
They're literally trying to say
That's not how the world works.
they were less free if private companies aren't forced to promote their propaganda at a financial loss. As let's be clear, Kimmel's recent comments are mild compared to the deranged things he said before. The corporations didn't suddenly grow a spine, it's just that Kimmel isn't entertaining anymore.
Maybe I
As
should.
I guarantee, if he was putting out Gutfeld numbers, they'd let him get away with anything because nobody fires an earner. And all these media tears just remind us how they simply have zero actual virtues. Where Western Lensman found the perfect example on MSDNC.
And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render meaningless. Tucker Carlson, just fired from his third network, he believed he could say anything, no matter how vile, no matter how disgusting.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people advocated for him to get fired. And now that he got fired, and now that the people that are getting fired because of their quote unquote free speech, it's like, what do you think was going to happen?
No matter how offensive, no matter dehumanizing or belittling. And
but if you find some videos of him saying the weird stuff that people are trying to claim that he said, put them in Discord. Put it in Discord. I'll react to it on stream. I'll give my opinion on it. If there's so many of these videos and there's so many people trying to say that he's different, then put it on the Discord. I'll react to it. I haven't come across anything that was like him advocating for death, at least not yet.
if you act like a sociopath over and over and over and over, you will become unpopular on the national stage. That's just like a basic principle. Over time, probably not going to work out well for you in the long run.
It's almost like you could cut the Chiron and stock images off the clips, swap the audios, and he easily could be talking about Kimmel, where these left-wing news personalities have become the equivalency of ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. As he's not paid to be objective about sports reporting,
Chase.
He's paid because if you told him to fill 20 minutes of TV time about why Tom Brady is overrated, he could easily follow it up with 20 minutes of TV time of why Tom Brady is the greatest. That's fine with sports gossip, but just proves that left-leaning media doesn't care about the truth or values, just whatever narrative they're currently force-feeding their audience. So of course CNN goes back to fear-mongering.
It is outrageous.
That seems to be the only thing that side of the party's trying to do, is just fearmonger everybody. They try to take everything to the most extreme to get to play on people's emotions, and it's just not working anymore. It's just not working. Everyone is so desensitized from the media stretching the truth to the most absolute extreme format that it just isn't working anymore. We're desensitized from it. We hold nothing towards it because a lot of people just know that it's bogus.
Page right out of Xi's playbook. It doesn't matter whether you agree with Kimmel or not. He has the right to free speech. And so it is just outrageous. It is indicative of autocracy, and I am just outraged by it. Again, this is what dictators do. This is what Xi would do. This is what Putin would do.
As MSNBC...
No. That's where you're wrong. Putin would have him killed. Stop calling the United States president a dictator. There is proof. And you know what's even crazier? Is that not only would Putin have the person killed, he would have the team or the paper shut down for it. And probably have them disappear as well. So no, you're absolutely wrong. That's not what a dictator would do. In fact, that's what a democracy would do. You know why? Because the show's ratings were going down. That's what happens whenever you're in a free market and your show's not doing worth a shit. You get fired. Bro, I can't stand
even
people
worse.
Sometimes.
I built a Holocaust
Employees,
museum with
yeah.
survivors. I've also read a whole lot about authoritarian regimes. This is the playbook, folks.
The Democrat governor from Illinois actually just tried to compare the Holocaust
She should just
to
get
an
him fired.
unfunny comedian getting his show canceled. Not only is this incredibly disrespectful, but just
get him
reveals
fired.
how desperate the Democrats have become.
Boot 'em.
As Jimmy Kimmel is just another one of their guys, added to a long list of idiots that
Joy Reid, Don Lemon, Jimmy Kimmel, Chris Como.
lost their left-wing platform, as that last one has been freaking out over this online.
The one that I've kind of stuck by for so long is Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is the only one that that will call out the Democratic Party for being dumb. Like he'll straight up call them out. It's kind of nice. It's refreshing, if anything.
Jimmy Kimmel, they're trying to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sure you've heard.
There's no trying about it. It is canceled.
The folks who are complaining about killing comedy are killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about canceling people are canceling people.
Which is funny because on an Instagram account with 1.6 million followers, he was just going live to a total of 600 people.
680.
This guy used to have his own show on primetime cable, and now he's out there making TikToks nobody cares about. So it kinda makes sense that all these mainstream media personalities are panicking over Jimmy's cancellation, because it's just a sign that they might be the next Don Lemon. But nobody should feel bad for Jimmy losing his livelihood, or anybody on his staff for that. To his propaganda is probably why people stopped listening to him. The funny part is, if the network didn't cancel his show, the left likely would have, eventually, as South Park had to cancel their upcoming episode for reasons, and now leftists online are calling to cancel anything Disney related, which is hilarious, as they always eventually turn on each other. Again, proving no matter how many years of representation, inclusion...
And you know what's crazy is this would happen to both sides. It doesn't really, like, if they had more of these late night shows that were more like Republican based, it would be the same scenario. If the show's not doing well, it's gonna get canceled, and it's gonna be some dust kicked up in the air, just like what's happening here. It's definitely a double-sided sword at this point. Like, there's no way that you can convince me otherwise. It's always a he said, she said, they did that, he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always gonna be something.